As an archaeologist, you're bound to sometimes come across a few things that simply leave you puzzled. Usually, when you can't make sense of something, you can rely on scientists to help you out. But sometimes, even they're at a loss. And that's how we end up with mysteries that remain unsolved to this day. So, join us for another video, as we're going to explore the 15 most mysterious and unexplained archaeological finds that will blow your mind. Let's start off this list with number 15. Stone sentinels of central Sulawesi. You don't need myths to sense mystery, just drive into the Bata Valley. Scattered across its rice fields are carved megaliths, some human-like, some shaped like animals, others resembling massive jars. No one living there today knows who made them or why. The stone isn't local, the meanings are lost, but their presence is undeniable. The largest statue, Palindo, nicknamed the Entertainer, stands upright in a small park now partially protected. Others lie hidden off muddy paths, half submerged, weathered by centuries of rain. Unlike the Torajan stone slabs to the south, these figures are detailed and expressive. Early research suggests they date between the 1st and 12th centuries CE, possibly linked to the Paleometallic period, when trade between mainland Southeast Asia and the Indonesian archipelago intensified. Similar stone jars in Laos and Ong Susan drums found in Lombok suggest wider cultural diffusion. Climate shifts or migration may have severed the cultural line. What's left are silent figures, carved with care, standing in a valley few have studied, and even fewer explain or understand. Its history. Number 14. The Tiger and Dragon Burial. The more closely you examine this ancient Chinese burial, the stranger it becomes. No, I am not kidding. Known as the Tiger and Dragon Grave, it was unearthed years ago in Puyang, Henan Province. Archaeologists estimate its age to be around 6,000 years. At its center lies a human skeleton, with a clamshell tiger positioned to the east and a dragon figure to the west. At the time, clamshells were likely used as currency in this region, indicating that this was an extremely costly burial. Yet its value isn't the only point of interest. In early Chinese beliefs, the tiger and the dragon stood for yin and yang, dual forces representing cosmic balance. Harmony between them was seen as the key to prosperity, peace, and personal relationships. This symbolic grave could be one of the earliest known examples of funerary burial practices. While researchers haven't confirmed that theory, the grave stands as a profound testament to how ancient people expressed status, balance, and spirituality through both wealth and symbolism. Number 13. Tower of David inscription. Despite decades of excavation, the Tower of David in Jerusalem still holds surprises. In late 2020, archaeologists found an Arabic inscription under the citadel that challenges long-standing beliefs about the site's history. Previously, a section of outer wall had been credited to Crusader builders in the 12th century. But the new inscription, carved into reused stone, changes that. It bears the name of al-Malik al-Mu'azzam Buza, Saladin's nephew, who ruled Jerusalem in the early 13th century. That suggests the wall was constructed under Islamic authority, not the Crusaders. The stone, currently part of an Ottoman-era cannon platform, is believed to have originally served as a foundation block. Al-Mu'azzam was known for fortifying the city and leaving his name on the buildings he commissioned. If this stone is one of those, the dating of this section of the citadel will need to be re-evaluated. It opens a new debate: who built which part and when? For now, the tower's timeline is under review, and archaeology will have the final word. Number 12. The Crowns of Silla. Ancient rulers weren't complete without golden crowns, but few can rival the ornate beauty of those from the Silla kingdom. I mean, just look at it. These masterworks of Korean metalwork were crafted between the 5th and 7th centuries and excavated in Gyeongju, Silla's former capital, starting in 1962. The most spectacular is the gold crown of Gyeomgwancheong, forged entirely from pure gold. It's the largest of its kind found to date. When discovered, it had been deliberately broken in two. Its inner cap buried outside the tomb and the external band inside. Though the reason for this symbolic break remains unclear, The restored piece is now one of Korea's finest ancient relics. It features antler-like projections, glass and jade bead chains, and miniature gold mirrors suspended delicately across its frame. Today, it's kept under tight security at the Gyeongju National Museum, where it's recognized not only as a priceless artifact, but also as a defining example of Korean craftsmanship and ritual wealth. It is amazing. What do you say? Number 11. Megaliths of Beglik Tash. Well, we all know that Stonehenge gets all the spotlight, but monuments like it exist across Europe. One of the most overlooked is Beglik Tash, sitting quietly along Bulgaria's Black Sea coast. While many of its stone formations are natural, the Thracian tribes who arrived during the Iron Age altered them with a purpose. Their ritual carvings still scar the rocks, and at the site's heart lies an ancient labyrinth still standing, still intact. Nearby, a rare Thracian sun clock built with massive, precisely positioned stones continues to confuse scholars. Even more curious is the cave's artificial stone altar, suggesting the entire location served as a religious center, whether for astronomy, sacrifice, or seasonal rites. Beglik Tash wasn't just a random gathering of boulders. It was organized, designed, and used for centuries. Today, about 40,000 visitors a year walk the same paths the Thracians once did. The Burgess Historical Society now maintains the site, preserving one of Europe's lesser-known yet equally important megalithic marvels. Number 10. The Lotus Chalice. Among many great treasures unearthed from the great Tutankhamun's tomb, one artifact stands out for both its craftsmanship and symbolic meaning. This is Lotus Chalice, also known as the Wishing Cup. It's carved from a single piece of translucent alabaster and shaped like an open lotus flower, with inscriptions along the rim invoking blessings for the young king. It likely dates to between 1332 and 1323 BCE, during his reign or just before his burial. The cup bears a message wishing the king millions of years of life, referencing his love for Thebes and the cool breeze of the north wind. This very blessing was later inscribed on Howard Carter's tombstone, the archaeologist who discovered it in 1922. The chalice may have served as a ritual vessel or simply as a symbolic item meant to accompany the pharaoh into the afterlife. Today, the original sits on display in Cairo's Egyptian Museum, where it remains one of the most elegant examples of alabaster carving ever found in an Egyptian royal tomb. But what it was really used for, no one knows. Number 9. Keros Pyramid. Greece never stopped surprising archaeologists. In early 2018, a 4,000-year-old pyramid on the island of Keros revealed evidence of unexpected technological advancement. Known as Discalio, it once stood covered in over 1,000 tons of gleaming white stone, forming a step pyramid that rose from the sea like a beacon. While its surface has worn down, what lies underneath is remarkable, a sophisticated network of drainage tunnels constructed over 1,000 years before Crete's Minoan palaces had plumbing. Alongside these tunnels, archaeologists uncovered lead axes, a copper dagger mold, fragments of a bellows, and a fully preserved clay oven. These artifacts suggest the pyramid wasn't ceremonial, it was functional, possibly industrial. Metalworking on this scale was unheard of in the region at the time. Discalio's builders weren't just artists, they were engineers. Somehow, this site remained overlooked for centuries, hiding in plain sight on a windswept island. Its discovery not only reshapes our view of early Aegean civilization, it calls into question how much else we've missed. Number 8. The Etruscan necropolises. The Etruscans are perhaps the most famous civilization we still barely understand. We've recovered thousands of their artifacts and managed to translate large parts of their language, yet their customs and worldview remain mysterious. If our understanding were deeper, maybe the vast necropolises of Tarquinia and Cerveteri wouldn't feel so puzzling. Tarquinia is thought to have been one of the most influential Etruscan cities, tracing its roots to the Iron Age before falling to Rome in 396 BCE. Within its burial grounds, the dead were entombed beneath hills, each topped with domes and interconnected by hidden underground tunnels. Some 6,000 Etruscans are believed to be buried there, including 200 elite individuals, suggested by the remarkable frescoes on their tomb walls. These paintings reveal a society that celebrated wine, music, dance, and sexual freedom. It's strange that a civilization so vivid and indulgent was eventually consumed by Rome. You'd expect Rome to admire them, not annihilate them. Number 7. Boxgrove Man. Boxgrove in West Sussex doesn't draw much attention. Even locals barely know it's there. But this quiet patch of England holds the country's oldest human remains, bones belonging to Homo heidelbergensis, dated to around 500,000 years ago. That discovery alone was significant, but recent excavations added another layer. Archaeologists uncovered horse bones, shaped into tools from the same period, marking the earliest known use of animal bone tools in Europe. Around these implements, clusters of stone flakes suggest that 8 individuals worked together, butchering meat with precision. That cooperation hints at something deeper, early humans forming organized social units. These weren't just wanderers scavenging scraps, they were planning, preparing, and possibly supporting a wider community. The tools, the teamwork, the scale, it all points to the first sparks of structure. Long before towns or written language, people here may have laid the foundation for everything that came after. Boxgrove Man, long overlooked, might be where the very idea of society first started to take hold in Britain. Number 6. The 100 Caves of Yoshimi. We know the Etruscans were real, but the same can't be confidently said about the first supposed residents of the 100 Caves of Yoshimi in Japan. Local folklore tells of a race of dwarf-like beings called the Koro, believed by the Ainu to have once lived in these caves. That theory was even supported by Sadao Sudo, who excavated the site in 1887. In reality, they're Kofun period tombs carved into sandstone. And despite the name, there are 219 caves, making this Japan's largest cluster of burial caves. While they were clearly made for burial, there's serious doubt whether they were ever used for it. No human remains have been recovered from any of them. Some caves are expansive and intricately designed, others are small, crude, and uneven. Worse, around 10% of the site was destroyed during World War II. That damage, combined with the site's strange inconsistencies, makes it nearly impossible for archaeologists to draw firm conclusions about their origin or use. Alright guys, now let's move to number 5, Bronze Age Mystery in Dartmoor. In 2014, archaeologists working in Dartmoor made a find that complicated the region's Bronze Age narrative. Found 2,000 feet above sea level, in a spot only reachable after an hour-long trek through boggy terrain, was a small burial box. Inside were the cremated remains of a young woman, carefully placed alongside wooden ear studs, amber beads, metal studs, and pieces of animal pelt, possibly bearskin. The box also held 34 tin studs, now recognized as the oldest known examples of metalworking in that part of the British Isles. Even more puzzling is the presence of Baltic amber, implying a trade network or exchange system far more advanced than previously assumed. The ear studs may also be the earliest examples of wood turning. Whether this woman held special status or the entire region was more developed than we've believed remains uncertain, but her burial was deliberate, remote, and symbolic. Whoever she was, she carried connections and craftsmanship that challenge old assumptions about prehistoric Britain. Number 4. The ancient caves of Karaftu. Carved into a limestone cliff in Iran's Kurdistan province, the Karaftu caves are more than a natural wonder. They're a hybrid of geology and ancient human design. Originally formed through natural processes, these caves were later altered by human hands, evolving into a vital refuge and commercial waypoint along the Silk Road. For centuries, the caves were only accessible by rope or ladder, but today a staircase leads visitors to their lofty entrance. The site's most compelling feature is a Hellenistic Greek inscription that reads, "Heracles resides here, no evil may enter." Dated between the 3rd century BCE and the 3rd century CE, likely during the Parthian period, it's the only known Greek inscription found in situ in Iran. Its presence suggests the caves once held religious or spiritual importance. Whether the inscription was meant as a dedication, a warning, or a claim of possession is still debated. Since 2015, the Karaftu caves have been listed on UNESCO's tentative World Heritage List, attracting scholars and tourists alike, still chasing the truth behind their enigmatic past. Number 3. The Pharaohs beneath Cairo. In 2017, 2 colossal statues were pulled from the mud of Cairo's Mataria district, fragments of forgotten pharaohs unearthed beneath city traffic. The area was once ancient Heliopolis, a city of divine kingship and sun worship. Both statues, estimated at around 3,000 years old, were discovered broken and eroded beyond full identification. Though in ruins, one was found near the remains of a temple dedicated to Ramses II, better known as Ramses the Great. This proximity led many archaeologists to believe that one of the heads belongs to him. The other statue, less intact, has been speculatively linked to Seti II, though the evidence is slim. Both rulers belonged to Egypt's 19th dynasty, which spanned from 1314 to 1200 BCE. The Mataria discovery was dramatic, not just for its size, but for how these kings, once surrounded by temples, were swallowed by city sprawl and time. Today, those fractured remnants are being studied, not just for who they were, but for how they ended up buried under modern Cairo. Number 2. A child sits, tooth, in Tautavel. In 2018, researchers working in a cave near Tautavel, France, unearthed a child's milk tooth, one that fell out, or was pulled, more than 560,000 years ago. The tooth belonged to a juvenile Homo heidelbergensis, a prehistoric species believed to be a common ancestor of both modern humans and Neanderthals. That alone makes the find remarkable. It's also significantly older than the famous Tautavel man skull discovered in the same cave in 1971. Even more interesting is the theory surrounding the site, that these early humans may have lived in this cave continuously, even building rudimentary wooden shelters inside. Physical traces of those shelters are rare, but the presence of multiple finds over decades suggests that this wasn't just a resting place, it may have been a long-term base. Studying the tooth may also help decode their diet, health, and growth patterns. For scientists, a single child's tooth can act as a biological time capsule, preserving the story of an early species we still barely understand. Number 1. The Dwarfie Stane. On the remote island of Hoy in Orkney, Scotland, lies one of the most unusual megalithic sites in Britain, the Dwarfie Stane. Unlike most Neolithic tombs constructed from assembled stones, this one was hollowed out from a single block of Devonian Old Red Sandstone. Measuring roughly 24 feet long, 12 feet wide, and up to 7 feet tall, the Dwarfie Stane mimics the layout of typical chambered tombs, but does so in a radically different style. A unique slab once sealed the western entrance, now lying flat in front, making it one of Northern Europe's few examples of a stone door, similar to those seen in Mediterranean tombs from the same era. The tomb has endured centuries of vandalism, with graffiti from the 18th and 19th centuries still visible. Some damage dates back even earlier, including a hole blasted through the roof. Local legend claims the tomb was either the home of a dwarf named Trollid, or perhaps even the resting place of a giant. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.